Well, he did tell me too. He was like, "Oh, you might have to shave your beard."
Oh. Welcome to the One Fall WrestleCast.
Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
I'm actually good.
That's good.
Derek.
Derek, how you doing, bud?
I'm actually going to go with I should go with I'm lucky to be here today. I would say that's how my weekend has gone so far.
Really?
We're lucky to
yeah,
have you,
and-
buddy.
And I know I kind of saved most of this, made a little drama for tonight. So since we've been talking a bit beforehand, I'm just going to go ahead and get it out so you guys can hear this shit show of my day. So Saturday, we plan a nice family day to go to the Pittsburgh Zoo. The zoo's awesome. This is great.
The zoo is awesome.
I love
Yeah, I'd never been to I've been to Hovatters, but that's not like a
You
a
never
zoo
been
like
to
this.
Pittsburgh Zoo?
Yeah.
No, yeah, that was awesome. Anyway, so on our way back after a very long, awesome, very hot day,
Saturday was hot.
we are driving down the interstate and back towards home. And it's probably 4:00 in the afternoon or so, and for whatever reason, I start to get really hot and really sick, and all of a sudden find myself hanging out the side of this 2021 rental car with like 200 miles on it, puking out the window at 70 miles an hour onto the people behind us. And my family's laughing at me because I mean, it is funny to see this because it's just insanity. But
wait, hold on. Two questions. One,
yeah,
why were you in a rental car?
Yeah.
it's bigger than anything we had. Like
you
as
rent a
far
car
as
to go
like
to
my
the
mom
zoo?
and dad went. Well, my mom and dad
Oh.
went, and Portia and I went, the wife and I went, and the baby. So to have
Yeah.
the car seat plus all four of
That ma-
us.
Listen, that makes sense to me. I understand
Okay,
your vehicle
that's-
situation. That
Okay,
makes sense to me.
That's fine. Two, did the vomit hit other cars and splash?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yes. This is where I got pissed. Because
Go on.
everybody in the car starts laughing because my dad goes, "Oh, he turned on his windshield wipers." It's not fucking funny. Which obviously it is now looking back. But in the moment, I was heated. So yeah, I lay on the side of the window just like a dog with my head out the window for the next probably hour and a half on our way home. Get home, just throwing up all night. About 1:00 in the morning, Sunday morning, I finally stopped. This whole time, my wife is telling me, "You need to go to the hospital." I'm like, no, it is not going to happen. I'm just throwing up. I will not die with medical debt. Nope. Bye, honey. Bye. There's my family going to sleep right now.
Good night. Sorry,
Right.
Portia.
So anyway, finally today, I decide, fine, I will go to MedExpress. And that's whenever you guys caught up with me. They hooked me up to some IVs, gave me a test for COVID, made me pee in a cup a couple times to make sure I wasn't dehydrated, which I was big time. My blood pressure was, I think it was like 160 over 110 or something wild like that.
Oh boy.
It was fun times. So now I've got some anti-nausea medicine. I've got IV fluids in me. I'm feeling all right. Oh, one last thing to top this day off. I go to pick up our daughter from daycare this afternoon because daycare closes at 5 now because COVID sucks. And daycare used to close at 6. But my wife gets off work after 5 today. So I go pick her up because I had the day off from work, obviously. And I pull in the parking lot. I put my car in park. And it doesn't go into park, but only goes to reverse. And then stops. So I then can't pull it out of park because this little knob broke inside of my gear shift shaft, which has happened before. Because it's a shitty little piece of plastic that Dodge made. And you guys are motherfuckers for making that thing plastic. It should have been metal. But so, yes, end up to top it all off. I'm stranded at daycare at closing time at daycare. Finally got fixed up, helped out. It was fine. But yes, that's been my day. Weekend from hell.
Well,
That's
I'm
amazing.
glad you're here. One,
But
I hope you learned your lesson with buying a Dodge, because I've learned my lesson the hard way as well.
Hey, pal. Listen,
Dude, sorry.
I love my Dodge. I don't have a
Okay,
single
you're gonna
problem
love
with
it until it leaves you high and dry.
Bro,
You
I've
better
been
go ahead
driving
and
Dodge
find
my
your little
entire
knob
life.
thing and
I
just buy
don't have
two
a
of them
little.
and put them in
I
your
don't have that
dashboard.
little knob thing. I have the.
Oh, you've got the turny thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm a little violent with my
mean-
shaft. I think that's my problem.
Don't be so violent with the shaft. Be gentle with the shaft. You're not as young as you
Speaking
used
of
to be.
shafts, what are we up for tonight, boys? A little wrestling action.
A little bit. A lot of drama this week. I really feel like we're at our absolute best when there's a ton of drama.
We excel at drama that we
Yeah.
have nothing to do with.
Yeah, it's just fun to talk about. It's fun to talk
There's a lot of
about.
Maury in my life. It
Listen-
makes me an expert.
Listen,
It's
I
fine.
got a
You are
banger.
not the father.
I've got a
what?
banger of a match of the week this week. I can't wait until we get there either.
I have a few to talk about. So yeah, let's do
There were
it.
a couple good
I'm,
matches.
Yeah,
Let's fire it up.
in-ring action was definitely on par this week.
It was good. Wrestling was there was drama and there was good wrestling. Like this was a good week. Like this was
Great week.
I'm high on wrestling right now.
That's awesome. Let's hope it stays that way. Anyways, something that's not awesome. The Miz tore his ACL in the zombie match.
That's kind of awesome for him.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, is it though?
Well,
I mean,
he didn't have to come back. Look, okay. Did you see the segment on Raw where Morrison is like, he's never going to be the same after that. I'm
Yeah.
dedicating this match to him. Okay. So that zombie match was clearly terrible. Like, no, that's the general consensus is that all of us, we all watched it. The internet watched it. Everybody was like, this is the worst thing that's been on television ever in the history of ever. Also, that movie sucks. So anyway, Miz got eaten by zombies, and now he's going to be out for an indefinite amount of time because he tore his ACL. And truthfully, that's good because now he can rehab, wash that stank of that match off of him, and he'll just come back and be awesome. And hopefully he comes back as like a good heel, not like a goofy guy in a friggin' zombie match.
Listen, we've also come on here a lot and said that if anybody downs, it's the Miz.
Oh yeah,
Like I think he'd have been just fine coming out of the other end of this. It would have been something he would have poked fun at for a couple of weeks, and it would have went away. I think it's just sad that he tore his ACL in such a shit gimmick. That's what bothers me about it. I understand your point and where you're coming from with it, but it's just like my man tore his ACL in this shitty situation.
I know he just gets to
Basically,
hang out
yeah.
at home
I mean, that's why you don't have stupid ass zombie matches.
Well, now he gets to hang out at home in his big ass mansion with his hot wife and his kids, and just
Yeah, he can rest his vasectomy, or I don't know how recent Ms. and Mrs. is, but I know that's what's coming up. So
it's funny that you said that though, because the rumor mill, one of the things in the rumor mill earlier in the week was, and I don't want to get in on this, but Tom, you can attest to this. Marisa said that, since he got fixed, since he got his nuts done, isn't that what you say, Tom?
Get his balls done.
Since he got his balls done, he's not performing as well in the bedroom.
I didn't have any performance issues post.
Well,
obviously while it was healing, there were, topical issues. Mostly the the wound itself. That creates obviously
festering wound.
Yeah, it's not festering. It's it's sterile. It's all it's medicated and all, but it's still a healing wound. While that's healing, obviously that creates some sort of a difficulty in you maybe gotta leave a little bit of, you don't go so hard. You gotta leave a little bit for some just some cushion there. You gotta leave a little bit. Don't go all, don't hit it. But yeah. Yeah, I went there.
I don't know, man. It's crazy that his wife put that out there. That's kind of rough.
Well, it's because she's missing that much. So
apparently she's regretting this.
She's like, God, I need that last centimeter. Anyway, so and he's clearly a precision guy. So he's got that down where he's not hitting the anyway. But it's not. He'll be fine. He's just got to heal it up. It's gonna be all right.
Huh.
Derek, you got anything on the Miz, bud?
Nope. All good things, man. I honestly, I think Miz would have came out fine of it. Honestly, you caught me kind of off guard there, because I was thinking of my own injuries related to that region. But we will not bring those up on the pod, and we'll move along. And what's up?
Hey, so Derek, where's your phone at?
Side me here.
Let me see it. I don't believe you. There's Tom's. Where's yours? Mine's right here.
What's up?
I have dead
okay,
cells.
Well, then I got nothing. Then Derek has his phone. I just thought maybe that if Derek didn't have his phone, I was going to be able to throw a little bit of fuel on this fire to this rumor that's coming out of the professional wrestling world about a camera phone being discovered in the women's locker room.
Wow. I mean, I understand I am a shady character.
He's been throwing up.
I do love trips to Florida.
From you in like 5 days. I don't know where you've been.
I've been dead.
He's been dead. He's been dead since Saturday. Okay.
So, I don't have the bucket in my living room anymore, thankfully, because I have a wonderful
God, there was the bucket.
Okay. So let's talk about this, because I feel like there's some things here that have not been really put to light yet. So
it's still not confirmed.
Fightful.com
on record. Yeah, I know.
Okay, has the hidden camera phone filming talent and bathroom story got out yet, or that the talent found the smartphone with unsavory files stored on it? And Sean Ross Sapp from Five.com said it's gonna next week if I can get the person who caught it to go on record, pal. So for me, a couple of things I take away from this is.
Was next week this week too? Or we're now in that week, right?
We are now in that week. So in the next coming days, we may get something on this.
Okay.
So this sets up a couple questions. I have questions. Who is it? Where is it? Right? Tom, I think, yeah, like what company is this coming from? Now, if I'm trying to be a fortune teller and see into the future, I feel like maybe Mr. Sapp here from Fightful with his little pal at the end is kind of implying that maybe it's WWE. Which necessarily I don't know, man. Like I just feel like if it was WWE, I would be less surprised than if it was at AEW.
Okay, so for one, I'm just going to say it outright that it just sounds to me like Fightful needed some clicks. Because why are you going to comment to us with this huge, like, this is huge.
But the thing is, though, pal, somebody
with nothing to back it up.
But somebody asked them, so
yeah,
clearly there's some sort of rumor out there that I missed.
Yeah, I didn't see anything either.
Yeah, I mean, until there's more to be heard about this story, I'm just not convinced that there's, unless it was Vince, and maybe that's why we're getting the POW.
Okay, so the only extra thing I know is that if you read the comments and if you look through what people have commented on, somebody said Andrade had commented on something to that effect that it had happened to Charlotte at some point. I'm not sure if that's necessarily related. And that would obviously lead to believe that it's WWE. I don't necessarily think that that's related. I feel like that would have been a bigger deal, especially had Andrade made a big deal about it. Because obviously everything else that Andrade has said has been a big deal made out of. So I don't know, which the fact that it hasn't made a big deal out of the fact that one, Andrade said it happened to Charlotte, and Charlotte clearly is one of the biggest stars in WWE. I feel like that would have kind of blown up a little bit more. And
two, though, Charlotte never played into that at all either. We never heard from Charlotte on that matter.
We didn't, and also, and Charlotte's not one to not comment on things. We've learned that she's one to be very direct and be and fuck you, and this is what happened. And she never did. So I feel like had something come out, and if there was information within WWE, yada yada, I do feel like this would have just blown up, like, because that's what happens. It's not WWE as a company is not super secretive, and when something comes out, it comes out real fast. I feel like AEW tends to kind of play everything a lot closer to the vest and keep everything sort of hush hush and shut up. Even if you remember the stuff about Jimmy Havoc that came out a year ago, that was all very much played down, very, very kept.
Oh, that was quick kibosh out the door.
Quick kibosh, gone, and I think whomever it was, particularly whether it was AEW or WWE or whatever, I don't think that it was necessarily a talent. So, like, if we find out it was, the person that it was, it's probably like, Joe Schmo who friggin', writes names down on a whiteboard somewhere. It's probably, backstage, enhanced, like, people who just work there. It's not necessarily like talent. Like, you're not going to find out
like members of the crew and production team and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not going to be somebody whose name you're going to recognize.
But what if it is? One thing you guys brought up earlier was that Andrade commented on it. And I feel like there's been multiple occurrences now where Andrade, he speaks, and whenever he speaks, I feel like there's something missing maybe in the translation, or he doesn't really understand the questions or what's going on. But there's been, I feel like, multiple occurrences where he just says something that seems off.
The thing is, though, pal, a lot of these quotes have been taken from when was right after his WWE release. He did Hugo Savinovich's podcast, which is a Spanish speaking podcast. So there's some sort of, Spanish to English translator that has taken excerpts of this podcast and has, translated these into American quotes, English quotes. So, like, I see your argument, but at the same point in time, if, like, he said that on Hugo's podcast, so and maybe that's why it got brushed under the rug and nobody really was talking about it, because it was on Hugo's podcast and it was like 3 days after his release. And I mean, we all know what Moxley did. Moxley went on the podcast world tour and just tore WWE and their creative system down, and, like, until he was just done, and you never heard from him again about it. He just had to get a lot of shit off of his chest. And sometimes, man, that makes people feel really good, and it allows people to refocus and do what they do best. But is this one of those situations where he's just blowing a bunch of shit off, and, maybe this was a rumor that he had heard, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't know. It's crazy. I would say that
hot takes aren't out of question when it comes to him. That's for sure.
I mean, I think it's going to be an interesting thing to follow if it ever comes to light. I do think that if it comes to light, it's certainly something we're going to be talking about. It might make a lot of sense wherever it comes from, but obviously, it's awful. Like, that's just, like,
it's terrible.
Wow,
terrible. Nuts.
God, huge invasion of privacy. Like, what the?
I mean, you're going to prison with you.
You want to talk about the
if you make it to prison,
unsafe working environment. Goodness gracious, this is a whole nother level.
Oh man, I mean, that's the bomb you don't want to drop. You don't want that to be.
I feel like, this whole privacy thing. We're gonna touch on this again here real soon. But hey, guys, I don't know. I'm gonna keep my eyes on this one for us. I'll see what happens. But I do think that if this comes to light, we're going to have a pretty long conversation about this next week, because I imagine there's going to be names if this does surface. So we're probably going to have a lot of talky talk in 7 days. Or
names, or we riot.
Maybe we're just working the boys here.
Or nothing.
So I guess we'll just have to play the waiting game.
Come back next week to find out.
We're going to get the clicky clicks from your clicky clicks, Fightful. Thank you.
And if you want to come back next week and find out, make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. We'll take good care of you next week. Hey, speaking of hurrying up, hanging out and waiting. Tom, your two favorite people in the world right now promotion show. Kenny Omega and Andrade are gonna go at it there over at AAA for the AAA Mega Championship.
Kenny still holds that, yeah?
Yeah, he's still got it.
Yeah.
He's the belt collector, pal.
How come he doesn't parade it around? Does he parade it around?
No.
He does. Nakazawa does.
All right, that loser.
For him.
By the way, listen, I'm so glad you brought up Michael Nakazawa. So on our last YouTube episode, not this last one that we just did, Bruce Mitchell episode, which has been like gotten a lot of negative response. I'm not really sure why, but before Derek disappeared, we were talking about Kenny and how the AEW championship doesn't mean shit to him, right? How AEW is like beating the shit out of their own title. Some guy commented and was like, "Oh, he didn't even know who was wrestling. He doesn't watch the show. This, that, and the other." Derek's the only guy that religiously watches the show. So, like, knock your bullshit off.
I like you, guy.
All right. And secondly, Derek did prove Tom's point, which is why I said that Derek proved Tom's point, because Derek, the guy that watches the show, didn't know what Kenny Omega was doing. So if you actually paid attention to what the fuck we were talking about, you wouldn't have wrote your stupid comment. So shove it up your ass.
Nobody pays attention when we talk. They also so
they got to look at me because hello, I've got this great setup. It's perfect.
It is. So there's this subscript of people, and I imagine this commenter is part of this subscript of people where who can't fathom that there are people who are smarter than them. I think that this person probably falls into that category. And however, those people who cannot fathom that there are people smarter than them, everybody is smarter than you, bro.
Listen, pal.
Don't hate on my only fan, Tom.
Your only fan. Shut up and listen.
Listen, pal.
Shut up and listen.
I was so pumped that there was a negative comment towards me. Like I was just, I was so happy. I got all warm inside. I was like, oh, wow, thanks, bud. That's usually Tom's job.
I know the feeling. It's like this warm, like yummy deliciousness.
Hey, you know what? There's always going to be negativity in life, guys, and there's not a damn thing we can do about it.
I can embrace it. Embrace it.
Yeah, but then there's just like downright just bad negativity. Like,
you can be an idiot. Like, God, idiocy is one thing. Like, don't be an idiot. Like, you can be negative. Be negative if you're going to be negative. But if you're going to be negative, don't be an idiot.
And if you want to talk about negatives and idiots and morons even, let's talk about former WWE official Drake Wuertz.
I love where you went with that.
Oh, yes. I've been excited to hear about this.
I love where you were going.
Yeah, man, so listen. All right. My man is a top-notch referee, okay?
He is a good ref.
I'm going to give him his props where his props are due.
He is a phenomenal referee.
As a matter of fact, I believe that his last match that he refereed was my match of the week this week.
He's a phenomenal referee.
He did a phenomenal job.
Every time he's the ref in the match, not only is he like he is the ref Aubrey he was the ref Aubrey of NXT, where it's like every match he calls is great. He doesn't necessarily like get involved in the match, but
he's where he needs to be. Like, he's where he needs to be when he needs to be there. He's a top-notch referee, and I thank you for that. But my man, you need to go get your fucking head examined, okay? Like, Derek, have you not heard about any of this shit?
No. Like, why is he a shit human? Because I know exactly who you're talking about as far as being the Aubrey of the NXT.
Yeah, so he got released this past week, right?
Mm-hmm,
all right, and apparently he's been very unkind to a certain sector of humans that work for WWE, and he's been very undiplomatic towards some other individuals within the organization.
So, okay, here's what it is. He was a wrestler, right? He was actually a garbage match wrestler.
No, you can't say that to Derek. He was a death match wrestler.
He was a hardcore wrestler. But then he sort of fell out of he fell out of wrestling because he was really into like drugs, like a lot, like really like loved all the, oh my god, to put him in my nose. But anyway, at some point he found Jesus, but not like Middle Eastern Jesus. He found like white Jesus, the Jesus that owns like a firearm and like hates Mexicans. He found that Jesus. So he was a very much super hard Trump supporter, and also became a like sort of QAnon conspiracy theorist type of human being, and blew off actual wrestling shows to go in his ref gear, spout like QAnon conspiracies to not like the actual like Congress, but like state congresses and stuff, or like just testify
local rallies,
rallies and things like but in his WWE gear. Allegedly, he walked out of a meeting with Triple H where Triple H was trying to tell them to be very sympathetic to certain kinds of whether it's trans or all Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, he was giving his big support speech for the Black Lives Matter thing. When like Keith. Please continue. I knew you would. Listen, Tom. I knew this one was right up your alley, pal. So like, I did just enough research on this one to kind of get you going, and this one's all you, pal.
So within that, after the fact, he not only did he blow off that meeting because it was clearly a thing. I mean, Keith Lee. This was around the time Keith Lee came out with the Black Lives Matter, the ring attire on and stuff. Not only did he blow off that meeting, but he went in afterwards and sort of got nuclear heat with backstage by wanting to be like no, all lives matter and blah blah blah, and wanting and just kind of being a dick about it. Like clearly, like when you are a referee within whatever your political aspirations are, and also, but if this is your thought process, whether you keep it to yourself or not, you really should re-examine yourself as a human being, because you're a trash human and you should stop being a trash human. Like, you should untrash your humanity. But he was very vocal about it, and clearly, I mean, that's a very diverse locker room. You're not gonna, but he was clearly very vocal about it at that point, and it created a ton of heat backstage, as it would. What people don't realize about WWE, although while their fan base, not necessarily us or like all people in the fan base, but a lot of the fan base is a very sort of Southern conservative type of fan base. The locker room itself is particularly liberal. They are very well-traveled individuals who have learned a ton because they've been everywhere. Generally, you won't find super bigoted people in a group of well-traveled individuals who are a very diverse group as it comes from. And as it's easy to tell, obviously the AEW locker room is very close. They're a diverse group of individuals, lots of black, white, Asian, pretty much Spanish, every ethnicity under the sun is in that locker room. They spend a ton of time together. They train together. They learn together. And then when traveling was a thing, they traveled together. They've all been all over the country and the world together. And so there's not really a lot of room for that small town QAnon bigotry type of bullshit. And that's really where he was, that down deep under level of just like, well, my grandpappy, no.
But here's the thing, though, pal. He was born and raised in Indianapolis.
Yeah,
like that's not like a backwoods place, man. Like
it's kind of. I mean, it's not a backwoods place. It's like the middle of the country.
I got a little bit of both, a little. I don't know.
Well, I mean, he's clearly on that. So look, we all grew up in West Virginia, right?
Right.
And like, we've obviously branched out a little bit. We've met people probably through the restaurant industry for the most part, and it changed our perspective. I know I'm a different human being than I was when I was growing. Not that I was like a terrible, like, oh, you know, black people are bad or anything like that. That's not how I was.
I mean, I get what you're saying.
You know, you grow up. He's too old to be behaving like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's our age. I mean, he's like he's like 2.5 months older than me.
He's too old to behave like this. You have to learn from your experience, and your experience can't be, well, I used to love drugs, but now I love racist Jesus. And that just can't, like, that's, I mean, clearly, like, this guy is crazy enough. He is 2 steps away from Unabomber crazy. Like, he's like, this guy needs some serious help before he blows up an abortion clinic or something. Like, seriously, he really needs some serious help, and he needs somebody to talk to who tells him, look, you're dumb, and you need to stop being dumb, and you need to stop doing dumb guy things, because quite clearly, I mean, he's a good referee. Like, that's where we started.
Yeah.
He was good at his job, which is why he stayed in it for as long as he did. But his personality and his beliefs got him fired, although he was good at what he was actually supposed to do.
Right.
But, like, let his persona get in the way.
Yeah, because if you're not a part of a positive culture, and, like, you know, that's what makes a work environment fun. That's what makes work environment, like, feel right, is whenever you have a good culture, you know, and for the most part, folks want to be there and folks want to do what they're supposed to do. And, like,
right.
But it's really hard when you got one person that just talks shit and thinks they know everything, when in reality they don't know shit.
And that's the problem, is that, like, if you're spewing, like, conspiracy theories, and, like, you just go off the deep end with that stuff, it's like, that's no one
wants to hear their bullshit. I mean,
in a learned environment with people who are, 1, very diverse, and 2, very well traveled, and a lot of them are very well educated. You're just not, that's not gonna fly. You know, that's not the, like, you can't be like, all right, and referees are very often, like, sort of leadership, have, like, a leadership role in a sense of, like, they can call a match in the ring. And he was very good at that. He was a very, very much a senior referee. It just, you know, you can't be, you have to re-examine how you are as a human and decide, have I gone too far? Should I maybe dial this back? Like, I don't care if he was like, well, I'm going to vote Republican. That's fine. I don't give a crap.
Yeah, but it's not, you know.
I don't know what kind of Kool-Aid the QAnon people drink, but I mean, you've never met one that even halfway talks anything that makes sense. Am I right?
That's the problem. Is like,
I don't know. I've never, like, walked up to one and talked to them, but I mean, anything I've heard has been like, do you believe that for real?
Well, it starts.
There's
with
like cannibals and shit in a pizza shop. Are you sure?
It starts with very powerful people are pedophiles. It's like, well, some of them are, like, clearly there's a few, and that's
some are poor, some are powerful. I mean, you know, it's kind of
it's like, and that's been a problem. Yeah. It's like, and they're all in cahoots with the devil, and it's like, okay, and Hillary Clinton's the devil, and it's like, well, pump the brakes.
Listen, I saw that episode of South Park, okay?
You pumped the brakes on that one, Tom.
I know what I saw.
Not the one with the woodland creatures, was it?
Oh my god, that's
that was like that was deemed like
any episode they're in.
The most hateful thing on television ever.
I watched that. I remember watching that episode as like a 20-year-old. It'd be like, oh my god,
this is on TV. What time is it?
That was the moment where I realized that, like, this is gonna be the worst thing that's ever been on television ever. It's only gonna go down. It's only gonna be
so good.
It was like, it's only gonna be more censored for me. This is it.
It set the cartoon industry back 20 years.
This is the peak. This is the peak of uncensored television. It's not gonna go. It's only gonna go back from this.
This motherfucker said you set the cartoon industry back 20 years.
They did. Anywho, what else are we talking about?
Hey.
Drake Wuertz got released, and nobody is surprised. But this guy needs some help before he kills somebody. So who else?
You want to talk about some surprising releases? Let's talk about Mr. Patrick Clark.
Oh yeah,
formerly known as the Velveteen Dream.
I love the Dream.
Me too, man.
It's unfortunate.
Dream over.
And we had a conversation when this news first broke, and I think after the changing of the climate today, we'll go with. A couple days ago, man, we kind of felt a little bit differently about this. We kind of felt like my man just kind of got in his own way, and I
mean,
the Dream did. The Dream has finally broken his silence, gentlemen.
Finally, this needed to happen a year ago.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
6 months, but
yeah,
something.
But
anything.
It needed to happen when it started heating up and it started to affect his life as a performer.
For sure.
But nonetheless, Velveteen Dream was released, and today he released a rather lengthy and detailed statement to his Instagram, of all places, which has since been deleted, I believe. But screenshots were captured. I couldn't find, when I first heard that he had released a statement on Instagram, I couldn't find him.
Oh.
So,
well, after reading the statement, I'm not sure why you would pull it down. I mean, it seemed well worded, and he explained his side of things, if that's how he sees it, unless his legal team basically was like, no. But you would think that he put something through his team before they ever would throw it up online. Something especially of that length.
I don't know that he has
and that detailed. No?
No.
I mean, okay, so let's, before we get much further, have charges ever officially been filed in any sort of way?
No.
He's not even been investigated.
No, yeah.
What are we doing here? I had always, at this point, like, I thought Triple H had even said that he has an attitude, issue of sorts, and he knows what he needs to do, and this was more recent, and then now he was released and makes a statement about the
long and the short of it is the long and the short of it is the Dream went on Instagram one night and said, "My DMs are open." And I'll come back to that because I have an opinion on that particular subject right there. But so he fielded a bunch of questions, bunch of people DMing him. Mostly, he had said it mostly was just well wishes or, hey, I'm a big fan. A couple were, hey, how do I get into the wrestling business, et cetera, et cetera. So he had answered a couple of folks about how to get into the wrestling business and kind of gave them some insight and told them, to work on their physique, because in his eyes, there's nobody that can teach you how to do that. You have to learn how to do that on your own. And if you're going to be an independent contractor, nobody's going to hold you accountable for what you look like on TV and things of that nature. And then this was kind of misconstrued. Young man had also come around and said that he, was accusing Velveteen Dream of grooming. And, when we had talked about that a couple of months ago, I think something along those lines. And, Dream was just like, nah, man, like these guys asked for help. I met one at a show, at a signing or something, and kind of formed a relationship with him and was helping him out. I was asking a lot of questions, giving advice, and now here I am. And it's hindered my growth and my personal career, and I spent a long time dedicating my life to developing this character, and now it's gone. So here's my question about the whole thing. Why on God's green earth would you, as somebody that's like in a quote unquote high profile position, put yourself in a place where you're having conversations like this in a non-public forum?
That's a good question.
They should absolutely, both sides should have an exact copy of the conversation they had. So I'm not sure why neither of them has brought out screenshots if this is what we've really got going on here.
So
the back and forth through voice message.
Well, and also the way that Instagram DMs work versus like Facebook or whatever else is it's not so much archived, especially if and this is the problem with that, especially if an account, obviously Dream's account was not deleted, but this other person's account seems to have been deleted.
Yes, yeah.
So that stuff's not necessarily archived, and that's part of the problem. That's why this drama stirs up on Instagram, because it's like, there are these things, and then it's like, well, can we find these?
So from now on,
we can't find
Facebook
them.
Messenger DMs are open. Fuck Instagram DMs. I don't know. I'm not big into the social media of 2021 because I had no idea that was the thing. I had no clue that those would disappear like that. That's crazy.
So here's my take on it, and Walt, I agree with you on a very partial level, and I think that this moving forward hurts fans more than anything else, because
for sure,
because at some point it's, as a performer, you want to interact with your fans on a very personal level, I feel like, and especially if somebody really thinks you're great for what you're doing. Now, NXT is not, they're not even getting 1 million views a week for the most part. So like people that know the Dream are like, he's more or less a B-level TV. He's not Jennifer Aniston, is what I'm getting at. He's a B-level TV show star. So, he wants to sort of facilitate his fan base and
grow the brand.
Exactly. Grow the brand. And rather than start a podcast or something like that, which is the more hands-off way to do it, he was like, hey guys, you want to talk?
Third-party band's not going to let you do that, pal.
Right. I mean, that's the other part of the problem, is he's clearly not above that, right? He's not above the like, you're going to start a podcast. Well, that revenue is ours, which is this is another problem. But he's just reaching out to his fans on a personal level because he's got some time. I feel like wrestling particularly maybe can be very lonely as well. So reaching out to fans is a thing where it's like somebody really likes you. You're not that lonely.
Dude. Open up your DMs, Walter.
House is full. You live in a house full of humans. God, I forget what being
and dog.
Yeah,
you have a wonderful dog.
I'm sorry, I was just trying.
The fact that I don't have a cat like in my eyeball right now is.
Dude, I'm surprised you guys have not heard my dog snoring. He's been in here for pretty much the entire show, just passed out, and his butt stinks right now.
That's gross.
Sorry, Jackson, but I am telling on you, buddy. He's got some nasty toots going on.
That's gross.
Yeah.
That's why I don't own dogs. Cats don't do that. Gross. But what this does is it forces people to put a barrier up between them. And this barrier used to exist, and for some reason people fall out of that like barrier, and they try to interact with fans, and it never works out. Clearly this didn't work out. Obviously it works out poorly in other situations as well, with like people who are private stars can't have private lives, at least digitally, either. But this is clearly just bad for fans moving forward, because this is going to deter any wrestler from ever being close to anybody, particularly whether it's media or fans or whatever. It's like, you go to a signing, oh yeah, thanks, nice to meet you, and that'll be the extent of it. I'll sign a thing, have a great life.
Yeah,
and it's isolating for the stars. It's the fans aren't going to get the connection that they maybe could have got, but here we are in a world where you can edit things to make it look terrible, where it's like, well, what's your body look like? Clearly within wrestling, like, that's important.
Yes, that wasn't a sexual question. That was a
right.
What is your physique?
Yeah, it's like, are you lifting? Do you have a nutrition regimen? Is it?
Do you eat lots of chicken?
Chicken and broccoli seems to be the way, allegedly. But if you get personal like that with fans, people who are like, how do I break into the wrestling business? And maybe you really want to help these people. that could be a problem. And now maybe I'm in left, maybe I'm out in left field. Maybe that's not actually what happened. But there was actually grooming happening. I don't know, but it doesn't seem that way. WWE seemed to have investigated it. They came up with nothing. And then Dream came back for a hot minute, and then he was gone again. And
then like. Then but the thing is too, like then after he was released and before he made his statement, all this shit comes out. He's he's the worst professional I've ever worked with. Coming from crew and staffers at WWE, and it's like, I think the big thing that was important to me, in his statement was he was like, hey, I worked really hard on this character and this gimmick, and hey, man, I'm gonna keep it kayfabe, so like, maybe he was just one of those guys that didn't know how to turn it off, and maybe I'm making excuses for him in that light, but I'll tell you one thing, man, Tom, I'm gonna agree with you 110%. The fans are the ones that are gonna suffer. Because I'll tell you what, that guy was top notch in the ring. He had WWE Universal Champion written all over him.
Absolutely. I mean, that character was money.
His presence and just his presentation, and just he could talk his ass off. And guess what else? He got in the ring and he could fucking go.
I'm not saying he was necessarily match of the year candidate, but like his matches weren't shabby by any stretch of anybody's imagination.
Name one bad Velveteen Dream match. I can't.
You got a great point. No.
In fact, the ones he had with Johnny Gargano were fantastic. Like, I'm not a big Johnny Gargano fan.
Bro, the feud with Adam Cole.
That one too. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
That put both of them over for me. Truthfully, that feud put both Adam Cole and the Velveteen Dream over for me.
And and then we got teased after that feud with Cole. We got teased the Ciampa feud with him, and then that's when like the shit started really hitting the fan, and he just started being real spotty on TV. Because I'm gonna tell you what, I think I remember, like I told you guys, oh, we got a little teaser for a Ciampa Dream feud. Mm-hmm. This could be big because, we had talked a couple of weeks prior on the show about, Velveteen Dream's immaturity issues and how Ciampa could help to mature him and get him on the right path. And then just poof, gone. Just like that.
It's really
unfortunate, really. Yeah, exactly, Tom. Because I mean, just look at what Ciampa did with what's his name? Timothy Thatcher.
Toothless Tim.
That is a hell of a team that I want to watch now. Before I could have given two shits about Timothy Thatcher and his, one piece little underwear singlet thing. Like he just looks like a basic jobber. I'm not trying to, be weird. I'm just saying, like he just is plain. There was nothing about him that I cared about.
Imagine what a feud made him with Tommaso Ciampa would have done for the Velveteen Dream stock.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it was already high.
He'd maybe be the WWE champion right now.
Yeah, he very well could be, because the way that Dream worked himself through a lot of feuds and a lot of storylines and stuff that he had with top names in NXT. Like you could put him on the main roster tomorrow, and any of them makes sense, and it's gonna be good.
It's. Like I said, we are the fans are the ones. I didn't even know Penny was in here. We the fans are the ones who are suffering here, and it's not a level of. It's like, man, he put so much good work in that the fact that it turned out this way, and I understand, I know why it did, but the fact that it turned out this way is just It's sad for the fans. It's
awful. It's awful.
Like it's us who are suffering, because I want to talk about great Velveteen Dream matches. I want to talk about great Velveteen Dream promos. It's like he is to me, what could have been with Samoa Joe. I know that's a different
100%. No, you're absolutely right. You've got guys that you look back on and it's like, man, what could have been? Yesterday was the 22-year anniversary of the passing of Owen Hart. What could have been with that guy?
What could have been?
You know what I'm saying?
Vader.
Yeah, like Bam Bam Bigelow. Like, you look back on some of this stuff, he's gonna be one of those names that you look at and it's like, man, we missed out on some classic stuff with that guy.
We missed
I
out.
see what you guys are saying, but honestly, I believe in the next, let's say 2 years max, we're gonna see him in Impact, if even that long.
I mean, if he decides that that's something he wants to do, but I don't think we're going to see the Velveteen Dream, pal.
No, the Dream is done. No.
And you know what? And if he can get another character over the way he got the Dream over, big ups on him, because that says a lot about who he is as a performer. For him is being the best performer that he can be. I saw that too. Satin Nightmare is all elite. I saw that. I laughed. But for real though, like, it sucks. It really sucks. And he's somebody that I've always talked about in a positive light on this show and amongst our group, despite all of the drama and the bullshit that surrounds him. And who knows, it may come out in the next couple of weeks that all this shit he just said just bamboozled everybody and he was guilty as sin. He might have kiddie porn on his phone. We don't know. But the thing is, until that shit's proven, man, this is disappointing. It's disappointing.
I mean, regardless of whether it comes out that way or not, it's really the fans who suffer here, because like generational talents are only like the guy had something special, right?
Dude, he was like a mishmash of Prince, Macho Man, Gold Dust, like
a little bit of Shawn Michaels in there.
Like he was everything that everybody talks about. Greatest characters of all time, mishmashed into one package.
Yeah.
I really feel like Vince would have pushed him too once he got to the main roster, because Vince loves those
shit.
He loves that just awkwardness that it could bring up on guys. People. That listen, right there is just right up his alley.
I was gonna say, but Derek, you kind of set me up. I was gonna let it go, but my man could walk out on Monday Night Raw right now. MVP could be in the ring saying, "Oh, nobody wants anything to do with the almighty WWE champion Bobby Lashley," and Velveteen Dream could come out and fit right into that picture.
I would love that.
You could cut a Bobby Lashley doesn't want anything to do with the Dream,
right? Could you imagine the promo?
Dream wants everything to do with you.
Yeah.
Like
I could see him fitting in that. Could you imagine Velveteen Dream coming out there and interrupting the head of the table?
It would be shocking. It would be must see. That would be must see TV.
And you know what? I'd be okay if he walked out on AEW on Wednesday and walked right up to Miro and gave Miro a what for too.
Okay.
The Satin Nightmare.
Truth be told, give it to Kenny Omega. Just drop him.
Yeah.
He takes all the belts. He just fights. All of them are on the line.
Break his back, make him humble.
Like, I don't know, man. It's disappointing. I think is what sums this up. It's just disappointing. The last 6 to 8 months, since we started the podcast, and actually, it's funny, guys. If you remember, we did our first ever little get together demo show. We watched Takeover together. You remember?
Mm-hmm.
And the Dream was on that Takeover that we watched, and that's where we kind of solidified the three of us was in that match with. I think that was the street fight. Adam Cole in the street fight, and we just talked about how good Velveteen Dream was, and so we've been on this train for a while, and it just kind of sucks, man. It really does.
It really does. We lose. The losers in this are the fans.
Yep, absolutely.
So
nothing to argue with there.
I just don't know. Hey, so talking about losing, is Turner losing a little bit of faith in AEW, guys?
No, I almost forgot about this part.
No, this is go ahead, because I have a very easy explanation.
Obviously,
so
the announcement
short.
The announcement came out this week that AEW Dynamite was going to move to TBS in 2022, and that they were going to give AEW an additional hour on TNT on Friday nights, and they're going to call that Rampage.
So that happens this year, the additional hour, but Rampage will also move to TBS.
Oh, will it now? I thought it was staying on TNT.
No, my understanding is that it also moves to TBS.
And then TNT will get 4 AEW events a year, similar to JCP with the Great American Bash.
Yeah.
Because, getting that spotlight, that spotlight position on TNT.
Yeah.
Now, Derek, I already know what your
TV quality pay-per-views.
I already know what your argument's going to be, and I understand that, but let's talk about it. So hit me with it, pal.
Me?
Let me go first.
Okay, so this right here, NHL hockey, baby. TNT just got a new contract. It starts next year. Every time we have a Wednesday night rivalry on NBC, which is losing NHL hockey, they throw it on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock at night, which is my most dreaded night of the week because I don't want to start a hockey game at 8 o'clock at night. And I hate watching it on NBC. But now they're going to be a new home on TNT. So that's where we'll be.
Are they going to have new commentators, though, on TNT? Because I feel like that would be great. Are they going to have new commentators on TNT?
Probably yeah, they'd have to. I mean, they can't bring over NBC commentators.
Those are NHL people, folks.
Yeah.
You think? Like, they'll have...
So.
Yeah, oh, wow.
All right, listen.
You know what I want to see is, like, JR and Tony Schiavone go out there and call some hockey.
That would be great. I would watch that. Even if it wasn't.
All right, so also NBA playoffs. But anyway, go on to your point, Walt. Because NBA loves TNT. They're big in the NBA.
All right. So what had happened was, so there was a guy at TNT and Turner who gave AEW their contract. He was fired. However, that contract still exists. It was a 3-year contract. That contract still existed. Tony Khan dangled it out there. We're happy where we are. However, if something comes out that's better for us, we're here to listen. And what happened is that TNT and Turner got this NHL deal, which is like basically free television.
It's massive.
Massive.
It's a massive deal.
It's a massive deal.
And if everybody remembers correctly, this is supposedly why NXT moved to Tuesday nights, because everybody thought that the NHL Wednesday night shit was going to land on USA because of the NBC stuff.
It almost did. But apparently it went to Turner instead. So the TBS stuff. So now they were making like $8 million a year that was the contract, like $8 million a year for AEW on TNT. However, that contract still had another year and a half left in it. But now it's got to move, so they had to sweeten that deal. So now that's like a $12 million deal. They bumped it up another like $5 million to move it, which is obviously great for AEW and Tony Khan and everything. Like that's a lot more money for them.
Yeah,
plus they get more programming time.
Exactly. So they get
a lot more programming time.
Well, no, it's only another hour of television.
Yeah, but you're talking about 52 more hours a week, okay, on top of the 104 that you already own, plus a prime time spot 4 times a year on the major network that I'm assuming is going to be a 3 to 4 hour window.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, no, I mean it's a big deal. Like they got a good deal. Like AEW got a good deal. It's gonna hurt the viewers of Dynamite. Like Dynamite's gonna go from like 800,000 down to like 500,000.
I definitely agree with that statement too, because TNT is a national broadcast channel as to where TBS is not.
It's a cable channel. It's a cable channel. So it's gonna almost half their viewership, but they're going to get more hours. So they're going to get another hour of television. They'll probably get roughly the same viewership, about 500,000 views.
Do you really think that hour is going to take viewers away from Friday Night SmackDown, though? Because it's going head-to-head with SmackDown.
No, not whenever. Yeah. They started at 10 o'clock. It's going to air on Fridays at 10 p.m., so it'll actually be right after SmackDown. Yes.
So I think Derek's right. No, I think
I was under the head-to-head with SmackDown's second hour.
No, it'll be a nice little bookend to SmackDown there. I think you weren't finished yet.
I think the 500,000 people of the 2.6 million people that watch SmackDown, I think that 500,000 people will turn on TBS after that. 500,000, and we'll watch whatever that is.
I have another question that I need to ask. So everybody sits around and complains about 3 hours of Monday Night Raw on Mondays, whether it's good, bad, ugly, in between. So you're telling me that they think that after somebody sits down and watches 2 hours of WWE, they're going to flip the channel and watch a third hour of AEW?
I think that 500,000 people would. I don't think,
especially once they buy advertising on WWE's programming.
Fox will never let that happen.
No, I think
you don't think it's all money.
I mean, I think I do think that. Look, it's not going to get the majority of. Look, that audience is huge. Look, SmackDown is a great show, and you
might as well say it's their flagship show at this point.
Yeah, 100% is their flagship show.
It's good. It's great every week, and the audience is growing. Like, the audience hasn't grown on a wrestling show in 20 years. The audience is growing on Friday Night SmackDown. It's ridiculous, but it's fantastic. Every week, it's like, oh my, like it's like, oh my god. Like, watching SmackDown to me is very much akin. It tickles those same heartstrings of like watching Raw on like as a child, like in the late 90s, like 1998, 1999.
I could agree with that statement.
It's very much like akin to that. It's like the storyline ties together, and it's like, whoever writes SmackDown, like can you like maybe like give some tips to the dudes who write Raw? Like, what am I watching? But
you know how I know that Raw is no longer the flagship show?
Because Paul Heyman's not on it?
No, they haven't mentioned it on air in like 300 weeks.
Yeah.
Because if you remember correctly, they would talk about it every single week. Oh, thanks for tuning in to Monday Night Raw, WWE's flagship program.
That's true.
It's not.
That's very Michael Cole of you right there.
Yeah, well, I try.
Mm-hmm. Sounds about right.
Also,
now say it like 4 or 5 more times in the next 6 minutes, and then it'd be perfect.
I saw a meme about that today. I forgot to send it to the group. It was funny as shit. It was like 9 o'clock. Michael Cole recaps. Braun Strowman came out here and beat up Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. 9:10. In case you missed it, Braun Strowman just destroyed Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley. And then at like 9:15, if you're just tuning in, Braun Strowman absolutely decimates the WWE champion Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. So yeah, that does. We're not the only ones that noticed that. Tom, I'm so sorry. I like straight derailed your little rant there. I'm sorry.
What?
Tom is going to punch you.
Is it wrestling? Are we talking about wrestling?
Yeah, I was talking about wrestling.
No, I'm kidding.
It's fucked up, pal.
Yeah, I know it is. Anyway, but no, I mean, I do think that they'll get a little bit of build off of people who are still high on. Well, people who are still drunk because they drank beer while they were watching SmackDown. They had a good time with SmackDown. They're like, you know what? I want to have a few more beers. It's only 10 o'clock. It's still early, but I still want to watch wrestling.
That'd be me.
Look, I'm not saying it's not going to be me. I'm not arguing. Although, if they put on Joey Janela first, I'm going to stream something. If Joey Janela comes out and is like, I'm the bad boy. We haven't talked
Damn it, Tom.
I know we haven't talked about
I think it's even been 3 weeks or so.
It's been 3 weeks.
It's because he hasn't been on TV. It's hard.
Damn it, Tom.
Quit willing him to TV, Tom. He's going to show up now.
He's going to show up.
I'm going to have to watch it. I'm going to be the one suffering because I'm the one that watches the damn show.
No,
he's going to show up with his cookie sheets just to piss you off.
So he opened one of those YouTube shows, and I like clicked on it one time, and he came out. He did a match with Sonny Kiss. I didn't watch the match. I don't know, but I saw him come out. I was like, hey, he's not dead. But anyway, Joey Janela's not dead. But if he shows up after SmackDown, after I enjoy SmackDown, and he shows up, I'm like, never mind.
So basically, Tom, what you're saying is that they're going to grab your attention as long as they lead off with a little bit of their more established talent.
Basically, you got to lead off with something that's going to grab me. So SmackDown is going to end fantastic, and I'm going to be high on that, right? So if I'm like, you know what, I'm going to click the up button twice, and that's TBS, and they're gonna be like, thanks for joining us on what's the Friday show?
Rampage.
Thanks for joining us on Rampage. I'm Taz, and this is the big show. And
is that who the announce team is going to be?
I have no idea. It's probably going to be Paul White and somebody else.
I would assume. Does this mean Elevation goes away? Or
no, Elevation is staying.
No, there's just going to be like 300 million hours.
Stop it, AEW.
Listen, no, but good on them because, I know I talked about my cousin last week, right, and talking about how we didn't like Matt certain things. We kind of talked about this a little bit this week too. It's like, there's some shit that we don't like, the three of us, like that we just all come to terms that we don't like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we just need to understand as, 36-year-old men that some of these storylines aren't for us. And
they're not.
Maybe that's why we don't like them.
And that's fine. Look, you want to put stuff on YouTube that I don't have to watch, and it's fine. A lot of them are jobber matches that squash matches. And it's that's fine. You want to establish these guys as dominant stars. They're squashing though. They're trainees though. They're wrestling school guys. That's not necessarily the best way to do it because then people will see these people and then they'll bring them out eventually after they've been properly trained. And it's like, oh, here's this guy. John Moxley killed him 6 times, but on YouTube in like 8 seconds. But whatever. Here he is now. So there's some of that, but at the same time, you're right. It's not all for us, and as old guys now, we appreciate the old guy shit, and
and that's one thing that I've been starting to really do as I'm watching wrestling. It's just like, oh, this isn't for me. That doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It's just not for me.
Wow, that's a very mature outlook from you, Walter.
Listen, pal. I don't know. I just. I've been coming in here for 30 weeks just shitting on stuff. And then, I don't know, I just, the last couple of weeks, been watching stuff and just been like, oh, that's not meant for me. I understand that that's not meant for me.
So why'd you shit on the zombie match so hard, asshole?
Because
that's not meant for anybody.
That wasn't meant for anybody. That was meant to put 6 figures in Vince's pocket. Did you guys see that shit?
Yeah. That wasn't meant for anybody.
Thanks, Batista.
That was meant for a paycheck.
Listen, my only argument was, and Derek, I know that you talked about the NHL, and that's great for Turner. But my big argument about this was, WCW tried this shit with TNT and TBS, and it didn't work out real well for them. So, I just wonder because a lot of the same effort that went into advertising and ad revenue for Nitro wasn't happening for Thunder. So is AEW going to get brushed to the back burner because they're on TBS now?
Once the viewership drops, yes. I think right now the high thought is that they establish themselves, they'll maintain it. It'll jump. It'll be, they're getting 850 to 1 million viewers a week. It'll get 750 to 850 viewers on TBS, I think that the first week that it goes to 500,000 viewers, and then maybe dips to like 400,000, back up to 600, 300 maybe one week. I think once it starts to teeter in that like really kind of crap range, the sour will come really quickly. And clearly they have a contract. It's obviously a pretty good contract because Tony Khan has very high paid lawyers who review this stuff. And so somebody will make money, and it'll be Tony Khan, and it may not be Turner, but at some point the contract will expire. And I think it's only 2 more years. Maybe it's not much of an extension.
I believe so. It's only 2 years.
Yeah, it's not much of an extension. And if the viewership, I feel like if the viewership doesn't continue, especially if it starts to drop like, it may be problematic. We'll see. Well, look, AEW may survive and may become it may be bulletproof. I don't know. They might this change might be fine for them. They may maintain their entire audience. Everybody will continue to watch on TBS. They'll still get 800,000 views a week, and it'll just be great. However, if it dips, this would be the equivalent of like if WWE was to move Friday Night SmackDown to FX or Fox Sports 1 or something like that.
Yeah.
It would just immediately like.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
You know, where they've moved to FX and just, you know, they're doing.
Honestly, you guys have brought up a whole slew of things that I'd never even thought of, because honestly, the first thought that jumped into my head, other than this is a non-story because of hockey, is, well, what are they going to do with the TNT championship? Because it's obviously modeled after the TNT, the channel. So
yeah, well, I had read something about that this week too, Derek, and apparently they're not going to rebrand that title, because it's still a Turner network. I mean,
it's just weird. It should have never. Not that I don't enjoy the belt, but it just should have never been tied to a TV.
No, it should have just
network.
been. It should have just been the television championship, or
the Dynamite championship, whatever you want to call it.
Lines,
I don't know,
and just be done with it. But you know, they tried to think outside of the box and do something different, and good on them for that. But now they look kind of silly.
Yeah, that's gonna bite them.
You think they look silly now? Wait till this time next year.
Listen,
no, stop. It's not that bad.
Only time's gonna tell, guys. You know, I mean, for me as a guy that casually watches AEW, and like, it's not my first pick of the week, right? And if I run out of free time to watch wrestling to talk about on this show, it doesn't get watched. I mean,
it was fine this week.
I've been very, very forthcoming with that information on this show, but like, I don't want to see them go anywhere, because I think that since they've been a thing, we've gotten some of the best WWE product that we've seen in 10 years.
Everything's been better. Like AEW routinely, especially when they started, maybe not so much now. When they started, they would routinely put on the best segment of the week and the worst segment of the week.
Yeah, and I remember you saying that before.
And now it's all sort of in between. I don't feel like that's the case anymore. But it's not that they're putting on a terrible wrestling product. They're putting on something that's watchable and I would equate it to, it's about as good as Raw, but it's less painful to watch.
Yeah, it's not as cringy as Raw.
It's not as long, which helps. I mean, some of the points are, some of the like, their worst segment is like sometimes better than Raw's worst segment, but like overall, I feel like it evens out. I
really love the fact that like Derek is like all AEW, because it kind of gives us something to go off of, and that just proves my point that I come in here and I try to make every single week. It's just like, not everything's for us, man.
I don't know, man. It makes me out to be a horrible salesman, because I've converted neither of you so far.
Sometimes nothing makes sense, though.
Listen, pal, you had me at the pay-per-view, and then
sometimes nothing makes sense.
That goddamn barbed wire match.
So, with not making sense thing, I've found that you can't watch AEW like you watch WWE. WWE has this cycle that they've used. It's the same formula for years, where you're going to have the title chase, you're going to have the title switch hands, and then we got to come right back and have a rematch. It's what we're seeing right now with Drew and Bobby and Braun. They got to keep going and going and going. AEW, you got to pay attention because we are not doing that shit next week.
You got to pay attention.
We got new shit going on.
You got to pay attention because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Your world champions out there at a rival promotion winning their belts. Like, listen, I would not be opposed.
The problem with AEW is like Kenny Omega's not even defending in a main storyline. It wouldn't matter. Like, okay, he won it off of Jon Moxley, right? Like, if Jon Moxley wasn't in the title picture, which he's not right now.
No, he's in the tag title picture.
Right, yeah, he's in the tag title picture, so which is also really fucking stupid, and I won't get into that right now. But like, you have another challenger lined up for your main title, and like, there just isn't another. Is there? I mean, I didn't watch intently, and maybe I'm like not miss. Is there another challenger for the AEW, specifically the AEW title right now? Like, I know Andrade is going to fight him for the AAA title that like Michael Nakazawa carries around. But is there another specific challenger, 1v1, mano a mano, for the AEW title right now?
Yes. This weekend. Well, not this weekend. Is it this weekend? The 30th. Yeah, the 30th. Orange Cassidy versus Kenny Omega at Double or Nothing.
Okay.
But they're currently trying to talk him out of it. Okay. Anyway.
We're done.
Anyway, so, okay, it's a job match. Got it.
We're done. No, I'm not letting Tom fucking go on that one, pal.
All right.
No, I gotta, yeah.
No.
Orange
Tom,
jumper.
Show me mercy, Tom.
Tom, no.
I'm done.
No. Gentlemen, match of the week.
Match of the week.
Tom, stop. I remember that. He doesn't, but I do.
Okay. I'm done. I stopped.
Yeah, he didn't. He missed it because he was checking the Penguins score.
I won't be bad anymore, I promise. Dobby is a free elf.
I've got too much stuff going on.
Anyway, match of the week,
Tom.
Let's talk about it, my friends. So this week was tough. Like, this was a good week.
There was so much to pick from this week.
So much good wrestling happening. I'm going to point out an honorable mention, which was Mr. Jonathan Gargano versus a one Mr. Bronson Reed. Look, whatever. Fuck you. Shut up. Look, I think Bronson Reed will be the second coming of Vader, and his winning.
Are you kidding me?
Yes. Shut up.
Shut
up. Look, it was great. Look.
Did you just say that just to piss me off?
Yes, I did. And
you're going to compare that man to Vader?
It's honor. Yes, it's honorable mention. Look, he's not.
It doesn't matter. It's honorable. You just
he ain't there. That. He's not there yet. Listen to me. Shut up.
Oh.
Shut up. Okay.
I'm only being quiet because I want you to tell me you're mad. I need to hear this nonsense.
All right. So, look, I like this. I like the big man. I like that the big God. He smashed him at the end. He smacked him. I really like when big men smash people. It really makes me happy. And this made me happy. It made me really happy. So it's an honorable mention. No, it was not the best match. It just wasn't. It was fun. I liked that it was a cage match. I like the Bronson Reed one. I like Bronson Reed. The man is just a fucking mammoth.
I can't believe you just compared that pile of trash.
All right, he's not Vader. God, he's not Vader. Okay, he's definitely not Vader. I give you that. He's not Vader. Maybe he'll get good and be Vader at some point, but he's not Vader.
What's next?
That man was legit happy to win.
So the match of the week, though, is my boys Legado del Fantasma versus my man Tommaso Ciampa and Toothless Timmy, because that match was a fucking banger. And good Lord, oh my God, when I watched that happen, that match, oh my God, that match was just like bam, bam, bam. It was so good. Loved every ounce of it. Mwah. Chef's kiss. Give me more of that. Put it into my eyeballs. I'll take it. Legado del Fantasma, going places, and I liked the run in at the end. I really did. I thought it made sense. The grizzled young veterans, although I don't like them as much as I like the other people who were in the match, I thought it made sense that they showed up, and I thought that was a good match. Loved it.
See, the run-in for me is one of the reasons why I didn't pick that one, because I had that one as like a short list on me.
I thought it made sense. Like it worked.
I mean, I liked it. I liked that it set up the feud. So full disclosure, this was my match of the week too.
Okay, good. See.
Well,
I agree with you. Like, the match was phenomenal. I really enjoyed that middle section where it was just complete chaos and all four guys were in the ring. And then on one side you had Thatcher getting his ass beat, and on the other side you had Raul Mendoza getting his ass beat. And then they went for the double roll up, and our boy Drake was like, no.
Right?
Like that whole thing was awesome. And then the false finish with the Willow's Bell, where Raul Mendoza came out of nowhere with that drop kick to break up that pin.
Where the hell was he? That's like that is like premier. Like, WWE has the best. That's
WWE production at its finest.
That was 10 out of 10. That's what threw this match over the top for me. That specific spot.
It was dope. And I didn't I understand the run in, but it was just I was so invested in that match, Tom, and to get that run in to cost it just
No, see, I like the run.
But at the same point in time, the run in makes sense because we're going to get a banger of a rivalry between Grizzled Young Veterans and Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher, because Tommaso Ciampa is not going to take this lying down.
No, and it just sets it up to look. I felt like I thought about this after the fact too. For me, Grizzled Young Veterans have been sort of just spinning the wheels, and that they're not over. They weren't over with me, and I feel
I really like their shtick.
That's fine. It's not great. It's fine, but I feel like if they get the Tommaso Ciampa rub of okay, now we've feuded with Ciampa, and now we've had a phenomenal feud by a dude who just knows how to have phenomenal feuds. I feel like that's really the thing that they need to sort of push them from. It's fine, because that's where it is right now, and I feel like that's pretty much general consensus.
Yeah,
it's fine. Nobody believes it. Legado del Fantasma, I feel like they're over. For me, they're over, and I feel like
I would agree with that. I haven't seen them put on a bad match.
No, and they haven't. They only every match they go out there, they get better.
And how fun is that feud over the tag titles going to be between MSK and Legado del Fantasma? How much fun is that going to be?
I thought Legado del Fantasma should have won the titles in that triple threat. I thought they carried that match. I feel like them between MSK is going to be just a lot of good matches. They'll carry it, and eventually they'll win it.
I would not be opposed to that at all. As much as I'm sipping on that MSK Kool-Aid, Phantasma.
It's really it's the next level of that's what I wanted out of the AEW tag division that never came to fruition.
I mean, that's what we were supposed to get, pal.
We didn't get it, but now we're gonna get it. So I'm happy with it. But yeah, that's the match of the week. Walt, I'm sorry I stole your thunder.
No, you're good. You're good. But, listen, I'm just gonna go ahead and jump in. I had an honorable mention also. Tony Storm and Zoe Stark.
That was good too.
I'll tell you what though, that new finisher that Tony Storm did at the end,
what the hell was that?
I don't know, man. I thought she killed Zoe Stark though.
That looked amazing.
Like,
Can I jump in on that real quick? Do you guys really like Zoe Stark?
Listen, her in ring is solid.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a character yet. She's just like that
I feel
white
like
meat.
she's the biggest jobber waiting to happen.
Here's what it is, pal.
She's
Here's what it is. And I'm going to say this, and you're going to think about it, and you're going to say, oh, that makes sense. You remember when Jericho debuted in WCW, and he was like, oh, yeah, come on, baby. Like, they just don't have anything for her yet. And that's where I feel that she's at right now, and they know that her in-ring work is fucking solid. And, I mean, she cuts a decent, white meat. I'm the most, I'm the greatest performer in the world promo. But she just doesn't have any character behind her, and I think that's what her big problem is right now.
It'll get there. Yeah, that's what this is for. Remember, this is very much a like. Still, as much as they want to say, this is the third brand, it's development. It's very much.
It is. It's starting to feel like it's not, but it is.
Listen, right. Let's talk NXT a little bit here, and then I'll let Derek get on. Tara Valkyrie coming out and interrupting the end of that match, kind of just putting Toni Storm on blast. Old Frankie Monet. It's a good spot for her.
That'll be fun. That is a good spot, especially because like they're built very similarly.
I'm into this Frankie Monet character.
I am too.
I think that she's doing a great job with it so far.
She was great as Taya Valkyrie. I really think this is now like this is her time to shine. Like she did.
Yes.
In Impact, she was great, and she was a shining star, and whatever they put her in.
She is great. Like I'm excited for what's going to come.
And she's got her build and everything is like it's strong, but it's like also like it's everything. It's kind of like it's sort of China mixed with like I don't even know, like somebody like maybe
Sunny. Like Sunny.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. That's a good. That's a better way to. I was gonna go with like, I was like maybe with like Lita or Trish or something. But yeah, no, you're right. China with like Sunny. It's a very good. It's a mix. It's a good.
Yeah, she's being presented as very like sexual. Like sexual might not be the right word, but like she's got like that. She's hot and she knows it kind of vibe to her.
Right, but also she's huge and she'll kill you.
Yeah, she'll fuck you up.
Yeah, and I like that. It's like
I do too.
I'm gorgeous, but I will also kill you.
And like I'm really bummed out though about the whole like Toni Storm thing. I think I told you guys, man, I felt like her heel turn was a kiss of death, and
I see. I mean, I feel like look, if that new finisher maybe turned me on her into like a level of like whoop, okay,
shit was wild.
Yeah. I mean, use that. Maybe it came out of nowhere too, which I really liked. So I mean, I feel like if that gets over and she gets over with that, that's sort of the new Toni Storm. And I feel like she'd be good as a tweener necessarily. Maybe not necessarily like they need to back off the heel a little bit, which I think they're starting to do.
Yeah.
But I think maybe a tweener kind of role with Taya Valkyrie, and then maybe a call up for her, and maybe she's done as much as she can on the NXT brand.
I imagine that's going to probably transpire rather quickly.
Yeah, I mean, because I think she'd be a great folly to Rhea Ripley, who's doing phenomenal work, by the way.
And you put her up there with her boo boo, Mr. Morrison.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who's no losers there.
Johnny Drip Drip.
Look, Johnny Drip Drip's great. It's great.
Hey,
no.
Derek, what's your match of the week? I'm sorry. We've been stepping all over your time.
You were Derek Drip Drip earlier when you had the IV hooked up to you.
Yeah, okay, all right, I'll give you that.
I'm glad you didn't shit yourself on camera, buddy.
I am too. We listen. We were really concerned. Derek was like, "Listen, guys, like I'm real fucked up. Like I don't know if I'm gonna make it through a show. I might shit on myself. I don't know." But he's held strong. We're an hour and 29 in. So
yeah, I'm gonna say that I'm ready to go. That's for sure. My feet have been sitting here tapping. All right, so real quick. Actually, I was gonna bring up your guys' match, which we've already talked about. That was good stuff. Other honorable mentions I had was Red Velvet and Serena Deeb for the NWA.
That was good.
Serena Deeb doesn't put on a bad match, pal.
No, she does not.
And awesome. Red Velvet's pretty damn good in her own right.
She has come a long way from when I first saw her. They put on a hell of a match. It was technical. It was solid. There was no bullshit, no mistakes. And it wasn't the stupid flippy shit craziness that you boys hate. It was good stuff.
I love me
totally
some Serena
reasonable
Deeb,
in the world of wrestling. And you know what's great? It's nice to see that, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Well, not so much Carl Anderson, but Luke Gallows. He went from being in the straight edge society with CM Punk and Serena, shaving her head. You think whenever she first came backstage, he's like, "Hey, I know you."
I'm sure that was a conversation.
It's great to see her move up in that world. But so my match of the week, and I'm gonna be honest, fellas, you're gonna hate this because it's mainly for the opening rap from the Acclaimed. So it was the Acclaimed versus Kingston and Moxley to set up what's gonna be eventually Kingston and Moxley versus the Young Bucks for the championship. But I'm sure you guys know who the Acclaimed is by this point. Have you at least tuned in to see this?
Yeah, I know who they are.
Yeah. I've seen him. I saw
Did
that
you guys
match.
see? Oh my god!
All I know is
segment where he cuts on Moxley and Renee for her. What is it? The Oral Sessions podcast.
Hey, that's a really good fucking podcast, pal.
It is a good podcast. Really you're right. That was that was some top tier.
Renee's got my stamp of approval.
She does, but that was good. You're right. I don't disagree. I that popped me. It did. I laughed.
Great shit. They entertain me every week that they come out. I love their opening segments. But
I didn't like the match.
Yeah, the match was not great. Definitely, if you're going for a match of the week, Red Velvet, Serena Deeb. But if I'm going for entertainment that made me laugh, that's what I'm going with. So that's why I went with 2. Just so I didn't want to be a rule breaker.
Hey, real quick before we get up out of here, I know I said
go poop.
Let me poop. What do you want?
I would not be. I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up. How good is Randy Orton and Matt Riddle?
Better than
terrible.
You know that conversation backstage is like, listen here, Matt, you're going to try to pop me, and I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it, and that's going to be our whole shtick. When that conversation happens every week, and Riddle's like, okay, bro, I got you. And it just works.
He tries real hard.
He does try to.
I like it. Randy has somehow gotten more out of Matt Riddle than anybody else could, and I appreciate that. I appreciate, and also he's made Randy Orton not boring.
Yeah, I mean, not that Randy Orton was boring before, but
he can be boring.
To each their own, pal.
Okay, when he is his 45-minute match with Triple H at WrestleMania a couple years ago was super boring.
I enjoyed that match.
It was nappy times.
I enjoyed that.
I took a poop.
No, well, that's okay.
Derek took a poop.
Where can they follow us at, Walt?
All right, so I'm gonna just go ahead and slow down. No, but for real. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out. It was awesome. Appreciate you guys. It's always fun to get in here and do this. Check us out on social media, both Twitter and Instagram at @1_Fall WC. That's ONE. If you're watching us on YouTube, you know that we exist. Please like and subscribe. But if you're hanging out and you're listening to us in the truck, head on over, check us out. We do appreciate you listening and being with us. It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun bringing it to you. So, with all that being said, until next time, it's all love. Thanks for hanging out. One Fall WrestleCast.
Peace out, people. Let's go, Pence.
Derek's got poop.
I'm going.